Hello, YouTube, and welcome to the fundamentals of soldering, episode 1. Now, honestly, to learn how to solder, it's easier than algebra. Actually, one of the items that's on my bucket list is basically just tell them to frig off, Barb. Alright, so I just realized my cord isn't long enough. Okay, so we're gonna have to do this on the floor. Damn it, I wish I forgot the cord isn't so long. I was thinking of a thing on, what was it's a Sirius XM, comedy channel, I can't remember. The channel saying is clean comedy for everyone. Very good, for the life of me, I cannot remember. Jesus Christ. I got checks of cord in my crap. Damn it. So now, of course, the things you're going to need is your soldering iron, solder, and of course your stand. So your stand, this one, and this, damn charger cord. So the first thing you're going to need in this case, will be like, sorry. Why the hell did I just do that? Anyways, so with this stand, you actually, you separate you push these out like that. You separate. Why do I keep saying separate? My brain is dying. I keep losing brain cells doing algebra. So your things, these things here, you pull them. Thank God. You pull them outwards. This particular stand, and it folds down just like that. And then fold it up, of course, you just pull it up. You'll hear the little things clicking, the little notches right there. It just slides. You pull this out, and see that actually pops out of the thing. So then this folds back. That will stop at the notches, so I pull it back. Put your soldering iron on it, just like so. You want to have your rows and core solder, and preferably lead-free. And everything, even the stuff that I bought that like when I've traveled to like Florida or Georgia, stuff. Like this stuff, it says like warnings on this stuff. Even like when I buy stuff in Florida, it says this product when used. This product, when used, produces a chemical known to the state of California to cause cancer, birth defects, or other reproductive harm. California Health and Safety Code 25249.5. Save these warnings. Sure thing. Anyway, so the first thing you're going to want to do is, of course, plug in your soldering iron. So, have your soldering iron. Have your cord, plug it in, just like that. So it's plugged in. You want to give it a little while to heat up. Right now, of course, it's cold. The thing is, if you run your finger on it, you can feel like the 60 hertz buzz if you run your finger up and down it. When I've done, like, run stuff like antennas, like TV antennas, like I have an indoor amplified UHF and VHF antenna. It's like a combo. And I run it, I kind of just, I have the antenna extended, I'll actually hear it going, so I'm hearing the 60 hertz hum. So when your thing, it's hot enough, then there's one way to see it's hot enough, take your solder, and so you take, you have your piece sticking out, and you, the camera lens on. And you touch it to the, you touch it to the end of the iron. Ow, damn it, somebody just, it hurt my knee earlier, and every time I lean on it, it hurts like a mofo. What? So, you want to wait for it to warm up, you give it a little bit. You can actually hear it, like everything, the metal expanding. So, Freak off, Barb. Freak off, Barb. Freak off. Yeah, freak off. Chill out. Calm down. If you keep this up, I'm gonna suspend you. Back down, Randy. You can't suspend me. Oh, right, you're suspended. Have your solder. Now, when it starts to melt, it's so cold I can see my freaking breath. See, it's starting to smoke there. Starting to create smoke. And every time I breathe out, it looks like I'm vaping. So it's starting to smoke and melt. That's what you want. So, Now, the easiest thing to start with soldering is soldering wires together. Now, basically, if you're gonna it doesn't matter which direction. The way you preferably do it, and the way that I found is strongest. Take the wires, twist them together. It doesn't matter what direction, but unless you're putting wing nuts, like wire nuts on, you want to if you're gonna put wire nuts on, twist them clockwise. Now, if you're not, you can twist them either way if you're putting electrical tape on. Now, this is odd enough, not quite, but almost. Oh, now it is. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to properly tin your iron, tin the tip of your soldering iron. Here's your solder. Now, you take it, you put it on the tip of your soldering iron, and you can see it melts. It'll flow down onto the tip. Now to solder these wires, twist them together. So in this case, I'll be soldering 3 wires together. So take 2 wires twisted together. Right now I'm twisting them together in the clockwise fashion. Twist them together. Take my other one. Set together. It's the rain. It's raining in California. So now that your soldering iron is properly tinned and your wires are twisted together, you take your soldering iron, take the end that is tinned, and you take in this case the side where the little glob is, and you put it on the wires, and it'll melt onto the wires, flow onto the wires, and then your wires will stick together. Put a bit more on it. So again, take where the part where the little blob is, run it up and down the wires. Try not to touch the insulation, otherwise you'll have a very bad smell and possibly a fire. So just like that. Do the other side, you do it all the way around. That side is completely soldered on. Now put solder on the other side. Of course, continue. You basically want to make sure that on the wires it's basically a big, thick, hard metal blob. So that, and there. Now your wires are soldered together. Now, to desolder items from a circuit board, as I will demonstrate to you now. Oh, and another thing, when you finish soldering that together, of course, take your iron, make sure the cord isn't going to touch the heating element, the metal part. Set it down on your stand. Now to desolder items, so like this LED, you find where you'll find the symbol with a diode on it, which is basically like right underneath it. You can kind of look where there's someone had several LEDs on it, but or three. Sorry, there's room for 4. But you find the one that's basically right where you're gonna desolder it from. I really need a tripod. Now, what you're gonna want to do, you're gonna take your solder, going to put it where you're going to desolder the item from. So you're gonna take some. You're gonna put your iron on the thing, the piece. And it's not just gonna melt, so you gotta like put some fresh solder on it, and then it will be able to melt and come out. You basically pull out, and there. So now one wire of the LED is now free from the hole that it was soldered into. Now you do the same thing for the other one side. Again, take your solder, put some new solder on with the tip and the fresh solder on the part, and then of course put it on there, and now you keep it on there, then it comes off. That is how you desolder them. Of course, now to solder them onto the board is the reverse of that. So that's that. There's your LED there. Now, say I want to desolder this infrared sensor there. You can see it has the 3 prongs there. See the 3 prongs there. It has this metal thing around it. Now you go down, and then you notice there's 2 thick metal things there that are soldered on. Again, same process. Right there. Take your solder, put it on the big blob there. Put it on your big blob. Now, and you put some on the other blob there, the other solder joint. Now, you're going to want to do this so that way when you get to the next one, it's like that. So now, take it and voila, you kind of alternate between the two and it comes out. Now, of course, same thing with the other ones. Now, for those who are more skilled in the art of soldering, like me, if you tin the iron properly, you don't need to hold the solder on there while you put the new solder on in order to desolder the item. Now, of course, you pull down on the thing. Now your soldering iron, melt the solder. One wire comes out, then the next, and all of them. There, now you have desoldered your infrared sensor. You can set that down off to the side, and I'll say I want you to desolder these video jacks here. This came from a television and VCR combo set. So you're gonna have you have your positive, your basically your negative, and your positive and your negative for the video. So these big 4 blobs there. So then you're going to want to tin it. You want to put your solder on your new solder on the part there. So your fresh solder is on. You've added it. Add it. Once that's been added, so you set your solder down off to the side. Again, you gotta apply pressure, gently pull out on it, and now that's come out. That's come out just like that. Now again, do it with the other 4 solder joints right there. So melt, pull it out. Pull it out. You have desoldered your video jacks. Now say I want to desolder this headphone jack. Again, same ritual. So take it. Now, so that in this case, it's these 4. It's this little bundle right here, because you see these plastic tabs there. So it's these 4 there. So I just melt away that plastic tab. Melt away the plastic tab there. So now take your, of course, same thing, same ritual, solder. Solder on the joints. Fresh solder on the joints. No, I'm not talking about weed. I'm talking about the solder joints, just in case. You know, a lot of people, when they think of joint, they think of a marijuana joint. That's not what I'm talking about. Yes, I know weed is legal in California. I'm not a stupid. Not a stupid, eh? Not a stupid, okay? In Louise, you're a plumber, brothers. So now that you've done that, you're gonna start with this big blob here. So we're gonna take that. We'll actually do the big blob and the little blob that's right next to it. You apply a bit more pressure. Now you're desoldering it. As the solder is melting, it's coming off. Now you have desoldered your 3.5mm headphone jack. Say you want to desolder this button here. So this thing was a TV VCR combo. So this was the record button. So again, same ritual. Now the solder joints are really small in there, so you could just tin your iron, put solder on there, melt it, and it'll start coming out. And now your button has come off. Now say you want to desolder this capacitor there, or these resistors. By the way, there's an app in the Google Play Store called ElectroDroid, where it has different things you can do: inductor codes, SMD resistor code, like you can figure out what the different resistance is. So like these are resistors here. It says R350 and R351. These two resistors next to each other. So the bands on them, it's blue and like kind of like a lightish blue. So it's gray, black, gold. So you'd enter that into you have a color chooser that shows a picture of like a resistor, and then it shows its colors. It'll say, whatever ohms or whatever kilo ohms. But so to solder the capacitor there, it's these two right there, and it says C362. So C for capacitor. For buttons, typically it's like SW or B something. So again, tin it, and this, since the capacitors are quite small, boop, comes out just like that. There's your capacitor there. Say I want to desolder this capacitor there. So I find it where it says you want to look for C, so C755. So there's already a bit of solder still tinned on the thing. So let's pull it out. There's your capacitor. Basically soldering 101. If you want to desolder this connector thing there, take your solder, of course, tin your iron a bit. Now you go over the solder joints with the solder, put the fresh solder on them. Put your new fresh solder on all the joints there. So that's now that you have your fresh solder on all the joints there, now you start applying your heat. Put your soldering iron on there, and it should pop off, unless it's glued to the board. Ow. So should come off. There you go. Your connector has come off. Now say this. So this is from a CRT. Now say this is from the same television. So say I want to desolder this double pin connector. It'll be quite obvious because it's these two big pins right here. So I take the two big solder joints right there. So take your solder, tin your iron, and then you want to, of course, put some fresh solder on the old solder joint. And same thing with the other joint there. So that you've put your fresh solder on there, you see the joints have gotten significantly larger. And now what you do, of course, same thing. You apply pressure. Now since the prongs on the connector are metal, you want to, ow, damn it, I keep touching that. But don't worry, I have the reflexes of a tiger. Take your solder, put it on. Need to let it cool down. Push really hard. Big push down. And basically same thing. Or when we want to desolder this thing, you can. You put it on there. Your little thing came out there. So damn it. Why do I keep doing that? Ugh. Now, some of these are going to be difficult to solder. So what you can do is you can grab some pliers or something to pull the item, or you can put it in a vise, but you gotta bring the vise down there. So I'll bring these little things to hold the thing in place. So again, another thing here, have our connector here, the two big prongs. Just gonna, pull up. Yeah. So you're gonna put on the prongs, hold it down if you can. So this is that there. Like that. Yeah, Barb. That's a tough one, because I would need a vise. But the cord, well, maybe the cord might be, no, that's on an extension cord. So let me just see how far ever I can get it. Oh, that'll work nicely. That'll work nicely. Nicely, just nicely. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Look at that. Minty. And let's grab. Ah, damn it. Damn it, man. So, okay. Got it plugged into an extension cord. So, let's try this again. There's some big resistors on there. Hopefully, see it's a CRT there. God, this is getting so wrong. So, this, put it in your vise. Not too much pressure because you don't want to break the circuit board. So just enough to hold it in there. Just enough. So there. So now you're gonna wanna again take your soldering iron, or you can put your end of your component in there. That'll work too. So 2 prongs there into the devices. So tighten it down. So kind of put it more tightened. Just that, just right. So I don't know, I'll just set you guys down for a second. Okay, so what's gonna happen is I'm gonna set you guys down while I desolder the piece. So yeah. Alright, piece desoldered. Now back to the floor where it's easier to film. So now, another thing you can do, since there's going to be some excess solder left over for after you desolder the components, you can tin your iron with it, kinda. Now, let's get off these big resistors there. These big resistors right here. So again, I forgot my solder on the table. Ah, damn. What the hell? Oh. Freaking weed whacker. I just tripped over it. Bring it off, Barb! Bring it off, Barb! Bring it off, Barb! Bring it off? Yeah, bring off, chill out. Calm down. If you don't stop, I'm gonna suspend you. Randy back down. You can't suspend me. Right, you're suspended. And the pliers, put some fresh solder on the the wires, the joints. There. Again, pull up on the resistor. Whoop whoop. Pull up. 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 Almost oh damn it, freaking barb. Okay, one part of the resistor off. So again, you already have your fresh solder on there. Should. Yep. So that comes right loose from its spot, from its hole. And that is how you were born. There's some of us. Anyways. So you want to desolder these capacitors, of course. So this is a larger capacitor, so it has a larger joint on it. So since there's still some solder left on the iron, see, look, coming right out. Turn this off, and then put some of the solder on the iron. There, still some excess solder over here. Put some of that on the iron. This on the iron. Desolder this capacitor. Oops. Yeah, this capacitor now. So again, same routine. Put some there. Put some there. Yeah, this is C431. Capacitor 431. Voila. Viola. Whatever the hell. Say we want to desolder this little capacitor here. Again, same routine. C433. And ow. Oh, touched my leg. Damn it. So this little capacitor here. The knee I hurt earlier was my right knee. I set a monitor, like an LCD monitor, a pretty light one, and like I bent over, and then my knee started hurting, and then every time I touched that part of my knee, like a bony part of my knee, that part of my knee it's like a bony part of my knee, it's like all of a sudden it just feels like somebody's holding a flame up to it, like a light, big Zippo light or whatever, like a stove flame, or putting a soldering iron on it. Or at least close to that. Capacitor off. Desolder the connector. So Again, tin the, still some like solder on there. Fresh solder on the joint. Tin your iron. So, we have another big blob on there. Some fresh solder on the solder joints. Now, begin your process of desoldering. I think that one's glued onto the board, actually. What else can we desolder? So we'll desolder this thing here, this white thing. You can see that it has a circle of pin connectors there, like holes. Of course, there's only one thing on the back of it that has a bunch of things in a circle, and then one big blob right there. So now I found that you can actually don't have to use new fresh solder. If you just if you press down hard enough on the old solder joint, it'll actually melt for you. Melt right off. It'll just frig right off barb. And then push down on it. Zoop. Zoop. Ow, damn it. Zoop. Oh, don't hurt me. My bones are the texture of popcorn. My bones are the texture of popcorn. But I do suggest you put fresh solder on there because you keep having to push down on the thing. So you just put some fresh solder on the joint. Right, you have that, you just run your iron over it. Now it's going to be a bit of a difficult one, just because of how many pins there are. You could cut the board, but so in there, it's gradually coming off. So once it comes off, Barb is frigged off. It's like liquid mercury when it's like that. Yes, I've seen liquid mercury. No, I haven't touched it with my bare hands. I'm not an idiot. Well, I am an idiot. I've done some stupid stuff, but I mean, I'm not gonna touch mercury and die. Because then you guys wouldn't see content like this. There, she's coming up. Barb is frigging off now. She's starting to frig off. Damn it. Trailer Park Boys are just funny. Frig off, Barb. Frig off? Yeah, frig off. Chill out. Calm down. Ow, damn it. I keep touching myself with that thing. Where? Pressure. Pressure. On the thing. There's a lady in the show. I remember I heard this on the. This is on the. I think it was on the radio or on the TV. I can't remember. It was in the news though. It was on the news where this was like this Australian woman was saying, "Oh, you should like get a baby's consent to change its diaper," and it's like the baby gets the baby, and she was it's like the person interviewing her was like, what if the baby can't really say for his or herself? And then the lady's like, well, that is why you should just say, okay, I'm going to change your nappy now. I'm going to change your nappy now. Is that okay with you? It's like Jesus Christ. And then there we go. That's off there. It's a little bit good to go. Okay. The connector has come off. So you have that. So you want to desolder these ceramic high voltage AC capacitors. How many? See, 2 kilovolts. Jeez, this is a lot. But then again, I mean, this is the CRT, and CRTs use up to 10. No, wait. Up to 10,000 volts, and yet these are only 2 kilovolts. Jeez. Only 2,000 volts for a typically 10,000 volt application. Again, these are probably on the lower side of the flyback transformer, because the flyback transformer has different outputs on it. So, because I've driven the flyback transformers before, and it's like one is like the fullest arc, so about 10 kV, so 10,000 volts. And the other, I touched that and I didn't get burned. This is weird. Okay, it just slid. Or did it get unplugged? Nope. Oh. And yeah. And then it's like a super big arc, almost like a Jacob's Ladder type arc. It's a pretty far arc. And then how do you call it? Oh, I was desoldering the wrong one. Soldering the wrong joint. Is it dangerous to use an Ouija board? A Luigi board? What is a Luigi board? My friend said a Luigi board, and it mentioned me. Help. My Luigi board is cussing me out. A Luigi board? What is a Luigi board? Can you burn a Luigi board? You see Luigi go whoop. You see him go whoop off the screen. So look me, a Mario and a Luigi. We are the Plumber brothers. Okay. I was watching an old Citroen commercial. If you don't know what a Citroen is, it's a French car. And some of their older commercials, it's like that. You have background music, it's like doom 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 doom. Now, when you solder this thing, I forgot what that is. I have a feeling a MOSFET or thyristor or something. Honestly, I can't remember. Anyways. Who's in charge? It's me, the boss baby. But yeah, I saw the commercial in an episode of Jay Leno's Garage where he did ow, damn it! These things get hot because there's solid metal inside. Kind of runs up the inside of it. And yeah, it was an episode about the Citroen DS. And yeah, it was showing like the commercial was like when he showed the commercial, it was like it was supposed to be a commercial like showing the car's like headlights, so like when you turn the wheel, the headlight would turn. And it was showing it was like driving around like a zigzag road, it was like dun 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 dun. You see it shows the car from above. Dun 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 dun. You see like the light being turned. You want to hold a soldering iron kind of like you hold your pen or pencil. As you can hold it like this, but I mean it's kind of use this precision. Use it right in there. So, anyways, so yeah. But yeah. There it goes. So, there it goes. So, yeah, that's basically how to solder and the fundamentals of it. So, yeah. Let me show you a really quick thing. Really quick thing here. So, since these aren't polarized, you can put them in. Yeah, doesn't matter which way you put them because they're meant for AC or DC. But so take some fresh solder. You can solder them together just like that. Ow. So, yeah, you've soldered two capacitors together, two ceramic high voltage capacitors together. So, yeah, that's it for today's video. What the hell? Door is opening on its own. Let me guess, is Casper the friendly guy? Probably. No, it's mine. No, that's the wind. Anyways, so, yeah. It is basically how to solder and desolder stuff, and how to properly tin your soldering iron, and yeah. So yeah. So yeah, that is basically it. Just for this episode. There's another resistor, and let's see, one more resistor there. It goes right to this one right. Goes to that one right there. I just push down hard on the old solder. Will come right off. And so, like the old solder, again, it'll just, you press down it, so like that little pin there, so you just press down on hard enough, melts right off. This becomes melted again. There's your pin. So yeah. Another one. But yeah, so random resistor. So, ow, damn it, I keep touching myself with the thing. Why? Why? So, smells like burnt pork and burnt chicken. There's one more resistor there. So, that is basically how you desolder stuff now. Like this single pin there. Now again, since you push down hard, that I haven't put any fresh solder on that joint right there. So again, just press down hard and it'll melt, and it'll press down on where the pin is soldered in. And let me see if I get it right. And pops out. There's your pin there. Right there. But yeah. What else I could so damn it. It's coming off slowly. like that. Let's see. I don't know what else I could show you. Soldered almost everything. From the bird. I can desolder this last. Desolder this last connector there. Just fresh solder on it. Dun 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 So now that there's fresh solder on there, you can pull on it, push down on the circuit board, and pull up on the little cable there. So like that, pull up, pull up, pull up, whoop whoop, pull up, whoop whoop, pull up, whoop whoop, pull up, whoop whoop, pull up, whoop whoop. So. And pull up on the connector. There you go. Alright. So this is where I'm going to end the video. So, yeah. You can even like solder this piece, like a piece of metal to a piece of metal. So let's see what I have. Like one time I soldered my sister's necklace together. Like the little chain broke, so I soldered that together. Put that on there. Damn it. Whatever. So, that concludes episode 1. This is going on now. So, yeah, this has been fundamental. Not fondling, no. This has been